Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the MicroOnda Podcast, the show that proudly brings you top music, news, and more. Here are your hosts, Cero Mundo, Johnny Quest, and M.A. the Engineer. Solo en el MicroOnda.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Live from the most powerful city in the world at the Green Room Smoke Shop. It's time to check the MicroOnda. With a little bit of time, we're gonna feed your mind. What's up, fellas? We are down for episode 12.
It's episode 12.
12? Yeah. 12. Órale! What's going on, fellas? How's it been?
Pretty good, pretty good. How you guys been? How's your week? Or past 2 weeks we haven't done the show, so.
Took a break.
So what's going on?
Good.
How was the cipher?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, how was it? Yeah, tell us about your trip to New York.
Sure. So I went to New York to check out an MC battle, Batallas en Español, Liga Dios Barras. Shout out to Il Máscaras, the Il Crew, Il Güero, Omar, all the battle rappers that came from the West Coast. They flew in from the West Coast. Guys that came from Jersey, from New York, from Boston, from the DMV. Shout out to Bronce, Controversia, and Ghetto Fama. They represented well. They did their thing. They killed it out there. It was a MC battle. The videos are being posted on YouTube. The Liga Dios Barras is a upcoming league. It's a dope league. There are basically battle raps written in Spanish. And there's 3 rounds. So each artist has 3 rounds to spit and just go hard at each MC, basically. You know what I mean?
Well, I was looking at the flyer and I saw that they promoted it, like they had like a little bar system going, like
Right.
like Controversia versus this and whatever. And then they had the main event.
Right.
Did the winners of all those bars or whatever, or of those sections, did they get
Like
to go
advanced
against
rounds?
Yeah.
No.
Does that work that way?
No, it wasn't like that.
So no one got to, none of like Controversia wouldn't be able to have a chance to go against like Ghetto Fama or some shit.
Well, you can. Like, you can challenge and make challenges
Okay.
against against your other competitors.
So it's not
or
like a sports team where you have,
Right. No.
Okay.
It's nothing like that. It's more like UFC. You know what I mean? You just pick a fight. You
Oh, okay.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Shit.
Yes. It's not like a NCAA bracket, anything like that. So
Okay. So how did Ghetto Fama and Controversia do? I know
They
it's not from the area.
all, they represented well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They killed it. I don't want to be biased and be like, yeah, the DMV is the best and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let people judge for that. But, they killed it. They killed it? Stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have Bronce, Fama, and Controversia here as featured guests.
Definitely.
On our next episode.
Uh-huh.
Ghetto Fama, he's got a battle going on in Mexico, so
So
he's gonna come here when he comes back from Mexico and tell us all about that.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And so how was your experience in New York though? Like how was the whole trip? How was
Oh, it was dope. Destroy from the Arsonist crew. He hosted the event.
Okay.
The event was presented by Mortal Technique. So Mortal Technique, he's
Was he there?
backing up. He wasn't there. He
Okay.
had to be at another event. He was originally scheduled to be there, but he did announce it on his Instagram that he wasn't going to be able. So he put Destroy to host it. But you will. It is expected to see him in the future. He is. He's all about these events because these are artists that they came from this whole battle scene.
Okay.
So yeah, it's looking good. Sirius XM was there.
Oh, okay.
So they
Nice.
They look real interested in this battle scene, especially in Spanish. It's something
obviously, yeah.
hardcore and stuff. So
Exactly.
it's dope because you see artists from all countries represent there. I mean, Cuba, Dominicans, Salvadorans, Bolivians, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, they were all there. Everybody was represented and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely. So any movies, guys? Any get the MicroOnda's movie review? What's going on?
So Get Out.
Get Out. How'd you
Yeah.
think?
Get out!
I would rank it high on the MicroOnda. That's how we do high, medium, and low.
Oh yeah,
high
sure, yeah.
medium.
And low. There you go.
Dope.
But no, it was dope, man. It was one of those movies that makes you think.
Okay.
Jordan Peele
Yeah.
wrote it and
From
directed
Key and
it.
Peele.
From Key and Peele.
Yeah.
That dude is intelligent.
No, the guy's smart. Yeah, it's a smart dude.
Very smart. But it was just one of those movies that, like, once you watch it, go on the internet and you'll see, I guess, little tidbits about things that meant certain things. You know,
Okay.
as far as like hidden meanings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna ruin it, but you know, it's one of those movies that makes you think.
Okay. I know it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It got 100 in the beginning, then it went down to 99 because it was some guy who they call like the Ben Carson of movie
Yeah.
critics.
No, understandable, yeah. Yeah.
So when you say make you think, is it one of those movies, for example?
It wasn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like a Pulp Fiction kind of movie that makes you think,
You know
that
what?
goes
That's
back
that's
and forth.
actually that's actually there wasn't back in that like the back
Pulp-
and forth of
yeah.
Pulp Fiction, but you know
Or
what?
like Memento.
If you would say compare like say Pulp Fiction, because I wouldn't even call it a horror film. It's more like I would say social thriller.
So it's more thrill, because
More like a
people are
thriller.
calling it a horror and stuff.
was
So
promoted
is it like
No,
was
to
there
me,
gore?
horror is like fucking monsters, zombies,
Right, some kind of
vampires,
gore and
the Ring type of
Right,
shit. Like
right,
it
right.
wasn't that.
so it's more thriller. It's
It's
more,
more
of a thriller. Okay,
but it's
all right.
a socially, racially.
But
themed
let me ask you this question
movie.
though. Now you saw the movie. Let me ask you. If the roles were reversed, if they made, instead of being a white guy, so instead it would be a black girl bringing a white guy home, and they made a movie just like that, do you think it would do good in our social justice right now or no?
So you're saying
So they say like, okay, so the whole movie, the premise of the movie is
I feel like that
white-
movie already came out, but they made
white-
it a comedy.
a white girl brings a black guy home, he
guess
feels
who's coming
uncomfortable,
to dinner? Sidney Poitier.
right? So if they would have reversed the races, right? Do you think the movie would still do good in box office,
I think
or would it
so.
be considered
I think,
racist?
No, I think it would just really come down to the strength of the writing.
Because I feel honestly,
You can flip anything.
because
as long
I
as
honestly
you
I
have the
feel like if
skill, you
I don't
can-
think so, because like I feel like it's cool to hate the white guy now, like playing devil's advocate. It's cool to hate the white guy now.
Your
What?
president has a lot to do
Well,
with
they-
it.
I mean, I know,
We'll leave that alone,
but
your
but
president has a lot to do
but
with
think
it.
about it. I mean, if we're really
Right,
talking about equality here,
Yeah, you know, if you think also the movie that came out last year, the one that was like boycotted because the dude had a like sex rape. Damn, yo, the movie y'all don't remember?
nah,
I haven't watched
It's
any
based
sex rape movie.
yeah, no.
Nah, it's about a slave that he rebels, and then they go all against the slave masters.
That's a timely movie. I'm talking about like something that's
No, right,
Correct in
but
our time period.
it's based on a true story and stuff.
Okay.
I can't remember the name right now, but it's based upon an original movie. That the original movie it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come out and stuff.
Talking about Birth of a Nation?
Birth of a Nation, that one.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
yeah, but that's more of a historic thing. Now.
It is,
You're
but
saying,
in
you're
that
saying a
I'm talking about like more of a
modern day-
yeah
when
modern
that
day
turned-
interpretation of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I feel like right now, like we're talking about equality here. I'm talking,
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're saying
So I'm saying like if it would have made
a black guy brings his white girlfriend home to meet the family.
yeah, and then she's like, oh, I don't feel comfortable. There's too many black people. Do you think that's
Would
gonna
it
go?
work today?
Would
Is what
it,
you're
no,
saying?
what I'm saying, would
I
it,
think it would.
do you think people will get mad if that happened, or do you think?
No, it's Hollywood, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's again.
No, I mean, but even though,
it all depends
but we're talking
on the
okay.
writer.
Even though it's Hollywood, we're talking about we have
With the
all these
producers,
we
with
have all
the
the
studios
social,
accept
the
it.
social justice warriors saying, oh, well, there's not enough color in Hollywood. There's not enough
Yeah.
this and that. So
It's
or black
not-
people's not being represented, Latinos not being represented, Asians not
But
being
I don't think you
represented.
can make that argument if the premise of the movie is a black guy brings his white girlfriend home to meet the family. And you're
Yeah,
like
but then-
saying, oh, there's too many blacks. There's not.
But that's
enough
what happened in the
diversity
movie, though, like-
that's what the movie's about.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
saying, but if that movie was reversed, do you think it
I
would
think
go
it would
over?
work. I
Do you
think-
think
I
do you
think
think
it
it'll
would
go?
work.
Do you think it'll still get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Again,
I
I like
that
the
all
credit,
depends on the
strength of
writer.
writing. That's
That all
what-
depends
yeah,
on the
for me,
writer,
it's
the actor, the producer.
strength of the script. If you got a strong script, I mean, hell, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Because I mean, by the looks of it, all the critics give 100% to anything that has a minority in it or anything that has a woman in it.
Yeah, so it's almost like
That's all. So it's like
there's almost like affirmative action. kind of
exactly.
thing.
So I'm
Yeah.
saying, I mean, if
Yeah.
the roles were reversed and Get Out, do you think you'll still get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes? I don't think so. I don't. And the climate we live in right now, I don't think so.
It's tough to say.
It's up for debate.
Yeah, it's up for debate. We'll let the audience debate on that. Drop your comments. Let us know what you guys think on the
If you haven't seen it,
Instagram.
support the movie. Though.
Yeah,
It's really,
but check it out. I'm gonna go check the movie out this weekend.
You'll like it.
I saw another movie I saw is was it this weekend? The Logan came out.
Oh yeah,
That Logan movie?
Yeah,
I saw
heard
that
that's
one.
real good.
Yeah,
Are you into that superhero shit, man?
bro. I grew up on comic books,
Yeah.
man. Of course.
I fuck with the superheroes.
You like superhero
Yeah.
shit?
See,
if,
but-
if
no,
they're
but
dope,
see-
if they're good.
See, the one thing about this movie though, you can't go into it if you didn't know Wolverine was a superhero, you still like this movie.
Yeah.
No, I like the last one. Like when he.
No, but this wasn't shot as a superhero movie. It was shot more of like an actual
Like a
movie,
dramatic
but just
drama.
happened to have a
So
superhero.
Logan's now fucking 007.
No, it's not that. It's like you still know, like if you know the background, like if you were to walk into this movie not knowing who Wolverine is, you still will enjoy the movie because it didn't touch on the aspect.
The Logan
of,
story is dope. He has
Yeah.
one of the dopest.
Did you see the
stories.
last one? Like when he wakes up
Yeah.
in the pit in World War II.
Right. Yeah.
Was it better than that one?
oh yeah, way better.
Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Well,
one.
this one's rated R, so it's the other ones were like PG or PG
So
13.
Logan's getting ass. What's
Oh,
going on?
bro, he's
Yeah.
chopping up people like if
Dude's a porn
I'm
star.
telling you.
I heard that the little girl speaks Spanish.
So yeah, so what happens is like there's this little girl in it,
He's shooting
right?
metallic.
Don't tell
And
us too much.
Oh no, I feel like no, but I feel like when there's kids involved, when there's a little girl involved, sometimes the girl is probably like 10, right? So when there's little kids involved in movies, they kind of like dumb it down or like whatever. This little girl was out here chopping niggas in half, bro, like fucking bloody as shit. The movie, bro, I'm telling you,
She sounds like the little girl in the beginning of the Jizz album.
They,
Chopped off the 100 heads. Remember that shit?
no,
My
but
father
no,
was a great warrior.
but
He killed
then like
100 men.
throughout the whole movie, she doesn't talk, and then there's like a part like in half of the movie where she does talk and she talks in Spanish.
Yeah.
So she's like, because I think the whole premise is like where they're creating these.
That's how Chapo's
You're
been.
telling
Yeah,
us too much. You're telling us too much.
So I mean, it's a good movie. You guys should check it out. I think
Right,
it's a high on my thing. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Hollywood's got some good, interesting movies out and stuff. So that's dope. That's dope. Speaking of Hollywood, you heard Nicki Minaj came
Oh, the
with
diss,
her
yeah.
response. She had 3 songs. Responded back to
Did she
Remy Ma.
Did she have 3 songs?
Yeah, she released 3 songs.
I heard one. That's all. That was enough.
Yeah.
I thought she backed out. That's what happened.
Yeah, no. She released 3 songs. One of them features Drake and Lil Wayne. One is by herself, and then I think the other one features Lil Wayne. Don't remember the name of the songs. I heard the verses. I'm like, I see what she's trying to do. I respect. She's on a pop status. She's like I'm in my queen territory. I don't have time for you little small peasants, and I'm over here shutting Paris down, kind of.
So that was what her
energy.
response was.
Yeah, well, that's what she's posted on Instagram. She's too diva-ish. You know what I mean?
My issue was with it was that you needed help. Like you waited for your help. and your backup. And like
Yeah,
Remy didn't use Joe. You know what I mean?
Right.
She did it all on her own.
right.
Do
She
the
needed
shit on-
assistance.
Then-
She needs to do 3 songs,
Right.
and she has
So
to
what,
show
she
off
needed
like,
your ghostwriters.
oh, I'm gonna have them on the billboard. Nah, 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 nah,
But
nah.
then so you gotta flex with your
Yeah.
with your homies.
Yeah.
It was a one-on-one fight. And
Yeah.
You bring in help.
Right,
You know?
right.
And my other issue was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You had 2 weeks,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that was your response.
Yeah. And they pulled off the sheet through.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that true?
Yeah.
She called up Nas and was like, "Yo, take this shit down."
Yeah, well, not Nas, because Nas doesn't own the song. So
That's not what I
the
was
record
hearing.
label owns the song. No, Nas doesn't own that song.
No.
Yeah, the
Wasn't
label,
that-
I think.
isn't it
Columbia
Nas's label
owns
or
it.
no?
No,
Not-
Columbia. No, not that when that song was released,
was
it
signed
wasn't
under
under Nas's label.
Okay.
It was
Did
released
you
under
hear
Columbia
it?
Records.
What the disses?
Did
I saw
you
the.
hear
I heard
Nicki's
the.
diss?
No, I heard the Nicki diss.
Don't waste your time.
Really?
No, don't waste your
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I've been reading articles on it. Like I know Worldstar Hip Hop
Yeah.
covered it.
Well,
and
what
like, a
did they
bunch of-
say?
Well, they were talking about how Nicki pulled down, made Nas pull down the disses, and then she releases.
Yeah,
the
but
diss
Nas doesn't
tracks.
own the song though.
But apparently that's
So
what
the
happened. Like,
label-
once
the-
she
the-
talked
the
to Nas
labels-
and she
the
was like,
labels
"Yo,
went for the clearances, and they were like, Remy didn't get the clearances
Okay.
for the song.
Okay.
So that's what
So-
forced them to remove the song from there.
So Nicki flows off the Young M.A.
yeah."
woo, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, yeah, that shit. So obviously it's more radio friendly. It's more commercial.
Yeah.
But bar for bar.
So kind of like what Drake did with Meek Mills.
Yeah.
But bar for bar.
Okay.
Remy all day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we were talking earlier, kind of.
Pre-show meeting.
Yeah, pre-show meeting. But we were talking about as far as I took it back to say the takeover versus the ether,
Yeah.
and I alluded to the fact that the takeover for me was more a commercial friendly song where they played it in the clubs, but bar for bar, ether was a little bit more.
Okay. It was
You know
more.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that situation.
Okay. So what do you think this does for at least hip hop when it comes to disses?
Well, Nicki could keep her.
Because I
pop
mean,
fans,
we're talking about we're seeing this with
I don't think
Drake.
gonna
We're
see
seeing
any
it
more
with.
disses anymore after this.
You don't think so?
Yeah,
I think
mean,
it's done after that. You know, but
Like, what's
the interesting thing is that Nikki gave a challenge. She said, "Let's see if you could book any interview without mentioning me, and if you do, I'll give you money and stuff." Because you gotta remember that
that's talking shit.
Yeah,
that's
she's
pretty
talking
much what it
mad
That's
ish.
talking
She's talking mad
shit.
shit.
Like, you need me to be
Yeah,
relevant. type
yeah.
thing.
Let's see you book an interview now, and if you're able to do an interview without mentioning me,
Yeah.
I'll give you like $1 million. She gave her some kind of challenge like that,
I don't-
you know.
The fuck?
So it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens or whatever. You know, we'll see how that plays out.
But pretty much it's dead though. It's done, right?
Nah.
Or you think Remy's gonna come back?
I don't think Remy's gonna come back.
You think?
If she does, she'll send some shots here and there.
Okay.
But I don't expect much. Yeah.
All right.
But who knows? She's a battle rapper.
No,
You
shit,
know what I
yeah.
mean? Yo, battle rappers.
That's true.
They'll come at you, man.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
trust me, yo. When I seen these battles last week, woof. No, they don't care.
no pulling
man.
punches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah.
Feel you.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. So who we have a guest?
Wait.
What?
You something about the CIA?
Oh, the WikiLeaks.
Yes. What is this? What's happening? Talk
um,
to us.
So apparently, well, I don't know too much on the story. You wanna
WikiLeaks
jump on?
basically.
Come on.
Yeah, Tim. Come on,
yeah,
Tim.
this guy.
we got
Okay.
yes. how
He's
you
our
doing?
correspondent right here.
Yeah. Okay. The white guy comes in the room. All right. So basically, it's WikiLeaks, and talking about how the CIA dropped the ball, and basically how CIA has been giving up. Like, they're not doing their job. They don't know what they're doing, basically. And
No say.
WikiLeaks got all this information on everything, basically.
Right.
Julian Assange and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
Yes,
So
get to
basically,
that.
WikiLeaks they released some documents showing that the CIA has been using phones, TVs, such as smart TVs, all kind of like electronic devices. If they want to turn them on and record you and watch you, they're able to do that and stuff. Kind of basically what Snowden exposed with the NSA. That's basically what
So-
WikiLeaks did as far as the CIA. But again, this is no surprise because Snowden, he used to work for the CIA.
So when you go home and make love to your lady, you gotta throw a sheet over the
You now
TV
got to throw a sheet on the
to
TV.
make sexy time.
You know, you cover your phones,
Cover the
everything and
TV.
stuff.
Put a big
Yeah.
blanket over the TV.
So
Yeah.
before we go to the guest, man, I want to share this with you all.
Go for it.
When W was president, apparently Sean Spicer was the Easter Bunny. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't know.
Yes, now you know. Sean Spicer was the Easter Bunny
Oh wow.
during the Easter egg rolls at the White House. I thought that was pretty cool. And apparently there's a $10,000 house that they build with a 3D printer. Did you see that?
I think I did. It was a
They
they,
can 3D print a house now in 24 hours with concrete,
Okay.
and it costs $10,000. But I think it's pretty
Whoa.
cool to keep, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've heard
How-
cars built off of the 3D
This is
printer.
it prints it in concrete and everything, like an actual
Oh.
house.
It's like a little thing that walks around and just dumps the
Yeah.
cement.
It's like a
and stuff
machine,
that.
and it
Yeah,
dumps
yeah,
the
yeah.
Oh,
I
dang.
saw that shit. Yeah, I saw that
concrete,
video.
and it builds it in 24
Yeah.
hours.
Oh snap!
I mean, you have to go in there and
Yo, that's
put
gonna
the
take away
windows in.
jobs. yo.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, we'll take jobs away.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah, on the flip side
We'll
of it,
see.
I was gonna say too. Funny thing was bringing that up. I saw something online too about a burger flipping robot. So it's
Oh,
basically this
yeah.
arm. This
Yeah,
guy created
yeah.
this arm. It could tell where every
man, so you,
you
can't
know
even work at McDonald's.
exactly.
Yeah,
It'll
yeah.
flip the burgers at the exact right time that it needs to be flipped. All,
Yeah.
everything.
Uber's gonna be self-driving
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah, bro, I'm telling you. Yo, have you seen
Fire's
this
gonna be
in
tough.
DC? Have you seen these little like little cooler sized robots walking around delivering shit?
I see that.
Because I
Like
work
they
right,
deliver food or
I
something.
work right near Union Station, and I see these little things running around. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? And
Let me
it's
ask you a
apparently
question. What if it's like a weed selling robot? Would you buy your herb from a robot?
maybe
Man?
shit.
Yeah.
Why not?
They might
They're tapped into the robot.
Yeah.
they might shortchange you. How you gonna argue with
You
the
just
robot,
gave me an
bro?
idea. I want to be the first to write graffiti on those robots.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Johnny number 5, bring him back.
Johnny 5.
You want a nickel bag?
That's
Oh
crazy.
snap! Yo, but speaking of DC, we got a legendary guest here in the building. Yo, I want to introduce to y'all DMV based Latin hip hop artist, philosopher, Renaissance man. I know this dude from way back. Yo, this dude is legend when it comes to the hip hop Latino here in the DC DMV international. Let's give it up for Cristopolis. What's up, Cristopolis?
Peace,
How's it
what's
going?
up? It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, pleasure having you
Thank
on,
y'all.
man.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, I remember Christopoulos when we didn't have any hair, man. Like, he
Young,
was
I
like,
done growing out the pompadour,
was-
man. I'm
yeah.
back.
He was like Professor X, man. I was like, man,
Yeah.
who's this guy?
Thank you, brother. Thank
Yeah.
you so,
So-
much. Yeah.
So the first time I learned about Cristopolis was, I want to say, late 90s.
Yeah, you
a
give
friend
away
of
my
mine.
age now. That people
Yeah.
know I'm not
Hey,
even
hey,
born
I'm
in the
from that
90s.
era too. I'm from that era too.
Kids
But,
born nowadays, if you was born in 1990, like, how old would you be right now? You'd be
Yeah.
27, young.
But first time that you were performing at a car show event and stuff. I don't know if you remember, but I
Yeah.
heard about it. I was like, oh snap, it's dope. And then I got the pleasure of meeting you at a DC, one of the first Latin DC Latin hip hop festival events hosted by DJ Guaraco that we performed that in Mount
Word.
Pleasant.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, dope.
No, that means a lot to me because, I mean, on the real, Settle is a legend in DC hip hop and in DC Latin hip hop. And the car shows you're talking about, like that shit was like, that's like you've been around. You know me, you know me. That's like a minute ago. So when you're young and you're first, I mean, you're performing for free. Right, you
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So this is what artists do. They freestyle it with the homies, right?
Yeah.
And then they get some Skrilla. They go to the studio and you release a single, you release an album, whatever you do. Nobody will book you. Nobody knows you,
Exactly.
right? So you're trying to get shows, and those shows normally, especially on the front end, are unpaid. And I was working with a manager at that point, Enrique Suave, and he it was a hustler, and he connected with this dude in Jersey who was like in the car exports. How the fuck he connected with this dude? Hip hop, Latino, DC, Jersey, car exports.
Dope.
I don't know. But the dude was like, we need artists for car shows. And we happen to be next weekend at the Dallas Expo Center.
Okay.
Can your artist be there? And he
Right.
sent them some singles and shit. They thought the shit was all right.
Right.
So I went and I performed. I think I performed 8 shows through an organization that was car expos up and down the East Coast. And that shit got me in Atlanta. It got me in Miami. It put me in New York. And it had several shows in the DC area. The fact that you know about that shit is fucking crazy. Because that's a couple years before
Right,
the DJ
right.
Guanaco.
Yeah.
That was what you're talking about is the first Latino hip hop.
Yeah.
Festival.
Trust
He
me.
did it as a
I know
Latino-
about the first
first
DC
everything.
rappers here in the area and stuff. You know, the first ones that I know is the Central American Cartel and stuff. So, but anyways, I wanna go back, yo. Let's go back to the first time that you were introduced to music. We want to know, Cristopolis. The audience wants to know your beginnings, basically. When did you first get introduced to music, and tell us your
Story. What's the
your
story?
and stuff.
Well, that's real talk. My father's from Chile. My mother's from Guatemala. My parents are divorced. I grew up with my mom. So I grew up in a very Central American household with weekends in South America. You know what I'm saying? So like, so I grew up. You know what I'm saying? I grew up around like Hondurans, Salvadorians,
So during the weekday,
Guatemalans. Right, that was Monday through Friday, right?
Right.
And Saturday and Sunday it was
You're in
Chile.
South America.
It was really Chile. I mean, like for real, like for what it is.
Right.
The Chileans hung with the Chileans, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe there's like
Yo,
every
shout
now
out
and
to
then.
all the Chilenos and stuff.
Shout out to what up. So like that shit was sprinkled in there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there was somebody else sprinkled in, but it was like my dad and his boys were deep because it was in the era when my dad and that whole generation left Chile to escape Pinochet and communist Chile.
Right.
Right? So that's some shit that like Salvadorians are here to a large extent, well, today because of the community.
Exactly.
Right? But in that time, because of
The
the
Civil War.
Cold War, the
Yeah.
Civil War happened
Right,
in
right.
El Salvador.
77.
So everything has a, exactly,
Yeah.
bro.
So
So,
late-
everything it's all correlated.
When car bombs were
This
happening
was, this was
in
what,
DC.
late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
I wasn't even born yet, bro.
And I was, I was born in Arlington,
The disco era.
This
the
guy,
disco era.
Yeah.
I was born in Arlington, grew up in Falls Church, Virginia.
Okay.
And like at that point in time, it was like parties in the apartment and with my mom and her friends and that music from that time.
Yeah.
What kind of music was being heard? Or
Yeah,
what
so
do you
that's-
remember?
La Sonora Dinamita, you had like Los
Yeah,
Hermanos
exactly. So you
Flores,
definitely had
cumbia.
some sonora. You had cumbia. You had cumbia. Cumbia was the shit.
Okay.
Cumbia was the hip hop because it was edgy.
Right,
For them,
right.
that's edgy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For them, that's edgy.
Feel you on that one.
Right? So like they were that was their hip hop. That was their Remy Ma, Nicki Minaj. You know what I'm saying? Like yo,
Yeah.
and so that's what I grew up on, and that's the music of my childhood.
Okay.
But I grew up, in predominantly black neighborhoods. I was raised by a single mother, Section 8. So I grew up around hip hop.
Well,
I grew up
This was in DC, Virginia.
in Virginia.
Where?
I grew up in Falls Church.
Okay,
I grew up
okay.
in Falls Church. I moved to DC like after college.
Okay.
So I moved to
Stewart?
DC out of choice. You know what I'm saying?
Stewart?
I went to Falls Church. Anybody who knows about that, everybody who knows about Stewart Falls Church,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm a Falls Church hustler.
Okay.
So, and I grew up around hip hop, go-go, and for me, I grew up in the same type of community that I think most Americans in urban areas grow up in, which is you have white, you've got black, you've got Asian,
Real multicultural.
and you've got Latinos.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like whoever shines, shines.
Yeah.
You know, if you're hot, you're hot. It's not like if it's not. There was nothing odd, and I grew up very much in that,
Okay.
and I was exposed to all music, and hip hop always called to me, always.
What were the
Very early.
first like hip hop records you heard?
I gotta give to be 100% transparent. I gotta give a plug to rock and roll. I grew up on a significant amount of rock and roll.
Okay.
What type of sounds or what bands maybe?
Yeah, bro. So like,
classic rock,
yeah.
Bon Jovi,
Yeah. Definitely some Bon Jovi. I'm from that era.
Okay.
Right. So like I listened when I was a youth, like in elementary school, heavy to Poison, to the first Guns N' record, early Metallica.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not gonna name my age, but you're probably my age.
Yeah, I'm probably your
And
age.
I remember in those days, the radio didn't really like the FM dials didn't have like hip hop.
Right.
So I remember that time the big station was Q107.
Yeah, that's the one I was
And
thinking.
so they would
Q107
play
was the
like
shit.
Yeah.
Bon Jovi,
Yeah.
Van Halen,
Yeah.
The Ramones.
Yeah,
Tears for
bro.
Fears.
That's it.
The Ramones was like DC 101.
Oh, okay. So it's a little bit more
Yeah.
hardcore.
No, it was.
That's
Yeah.
more
Absolutely.
grunge.
What was it?
Q107. Q107.
And then
Q107.
Soul took over them. And then I remember that was a big La Mega.
No.
Was
You're
La
thinking
Mega.
you're thinking of HFS.
Yeah, and that's like 10 years
You're
later.
thinking
Maybe
yeah,
more.
it's
Maybe
like
more.
20
Maybe
years
more
later.
than that. But
Anyways, yeah.
we're going way back.
Right.
So
So
that
anyways-
played a huge. I love the music, and I
Right.
love music. I love
Right.
music.
Right.
I listen to all genres of
Did you
music.
play instruments?
Did I play instruments?
Yeah.
I mean, other than music class and the recorder,
Okay.
like not really. You know what I'm saying? Like I can still rock a Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I remember the Beastie Boys, No Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Okay.
And I had cousins I'd always go stay with in Brooklyn, and that shit was dope to me. And it was probably really Public Enemy that pulled me into hip hop culture. Because for people who are familiar with that era,
I was a big Public Enemy fan.
Public Enemy was bigger than fucking anybody you could think of today, and it wasn't monetary. They were a cultural revolution.
Right,
That's why when you think back to that era, you could fucking spoof movies, whatever, in the 90s, right? And they're always going to be rocking like a leather African medallion. That's just Public Enemy.
Right.
That whole
Public Enemy
cultural movement is
Chuck
Public
D.
Enemy.
Yeah.
Chuck D, incredible. And then
Professor
as I got
Griff.
into the culture, I always, started learning about new artists.
Okay.
So, but I'm a product of that era. I breakdanced before I understood that hip hop was multiple elements.
Right.
And I grew up
So
around.
you broke down. You used to break. You
Yeah,
B-boy
bro.
And stuff?
Yeah, my
Okay.
breakdance name was Spanish Fly. You had a name, like you had a name, like hip hop artists have, like they got like their rap
Right.
name.
Persona,
right.
You had a dance name,
Right,
and that was like in like second grade, third grade.
What was your
But Spanish Fly.
Dope.
Yeah,
okay,
bro,
okay,
it's just
okay.
kind of that. I can't remember that shit.
All right,
It's a
represent.
little second grader. I was like Spanish Fly. I was the only Latino kid too.
You're putting the things in the drinks.
Exactly. You hear that shit, So you progress through the eras, right? So like I loved hip hop. I love hip hop. I love the lyrics. And what I love about hip hop is that it's a sound that, and this is my opinion, because if you brought a cat in here who was like 17 or 18 years old, he may have a different opinion. But in my opinion, hip hop is a sound that is found in almost any genre of music, because it's a loop, right? It's a loop that's hot, and then you can find it, and then you loop it.
breakbeat.
It's a breakbeat.
Yeah,
It's a breakbeat essentially, right? Even though breakbeat today means almost more like, because it's gotten into like vinyl breakbeats and shit like that. So people don't understand what you're saying. But it's essentially something that you could take, and you take a 4,
You
8,
loop it,
16
right.
second
Yeah.
snippet of it,
And
and
make
you
a
flip
song.
it,
You loop it,
and you
right.
make a song.
Right.
And then it takes your creativity and the technology you have at hand to take it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So you add dimension to that loop, right? So I love that because I love rock. I love jazz. I grew up on cumbia. I want other sounds in my repertoire. And I love that about hip hop. You fast forward, and you don't know this maybe when you're in elementary school, maybe some people do, but I get into the high school era and I'm freestyling. Freestyles will kind of started it all. And you start writing, and I'm a writer. I'm a writer. To this day, I'm a writer. Writing frees my soul. Straight up. That's my medicine. Like, if this shit right now, for whatever reason, went sour, I'd go home and write and feel better. Right?
So how did you get into writing?
Young, I don't know. That
Like what inspired you to write,
pick up that pen
to
and just
be
put it
like,
to
Yo,
paper?
I want to be an MC.
yeah, I wish I could. I don't know. There's not a moment. It's like a calling.
Okay.
You remember how old you were when you first started writing?
Yeah, bro. So like 10th grade.
10th grade.
10th grade. So in 10th grade, I started writing raps, and
Were you perform in front of
I didn't perform until I lived in
Cool.
South America. I didn't
Okay,
perform
okay.
till the 11th grade.
Okay.
But it's kind of connected.
So-
like that seems like a
okay,
world
so-
away when you're that age.
right,
But like
so-
I mean
so-
now it's like fucking
So
the
you
next year.
so you started writing here. You grew up here, listening to the music. All this different music, different culture here was being played into you. You say you went to South America.
Hey, but I think you're jumping ahead a little bit. I think.
Yeah. But he's 6 months. It's really close. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I start writing rhymes.
Okay.
Right. And like for lack of a better way to say it, for lack of tact, all my friends are black.
Yeah.
Right. And I live in a neighborhood and in an era and time when black and Latinos beef.
Yeah.
But I couldn't relate with those Latinos.
Okay.
My Spanish was fucked up.
Yeah.
I grew up in a black neighborhood my whole life. All my friends were black. I listened to nothing but hip hop. I always like white girls, but but I didn't relate necessarily with people who didn't speak English,
Okay.
who grew up in another country and came over here as immigrants.
Okay.
Today I do, right? So this is
At the time,
at the time I did it. That was just my reality
Right,
was
right.
I was not as in touch with my immigrant roots, and 100% in touch with
you
my.
were going with what you were adapted to here.
I was a
stuff,
kid who
right?
grew up with a single mom, who my dad was the playground.
Okay.
And the playground was the beatbox and a piece of cardboard where you break dance and you like hung out with your friends.
Right.
And those friends who had a similar situation to my reality were all black.
Okay.
And they didn't judge me, and I sure as fuck didn't judge them.
Right.
That was what it was. That was my reality.
Right.
I lived in my today parts of Northern Virginia, Arlington, Alexandria, and areas like Falls Church are almost like DC. At that time it was suburban. It was more suburban Virginia. But I grew up in very much a melting pot, like you would have if you grew up in an area like Brooklyn. It was kids in my neighborhood that had economic, social realities that were the same. And that had a huge influence on me. But I think if I would have grown up in, I don't know, Costa Rica, I'd still be hip hop because I have a predisposition towards that sound.
Okay.
I love that sound.
Right.
I love that. And there's people today who didn't grow up in my reality who love that sound, born today. So to get to what we were just talking about. So I wound up getting expelled from high school. I got in some trouble and shit.
So in school, or you got
In
into
Falls Church,
pubs
yeah. I was
okay.
like in a gang,
Okay.
and we fucked some people up, and I get expelled,
Okay.
right? And I do the homeschool shit for a little bit, and I wind up getting in some trouble beyond that.
Yeah, imagine getting that ass beaten at home from a Latin mom. God
Yeah,
damn.
yeah, bro. That shit was heavy. That shit was heavy, and but my crew was deep, man. We was getting into some like shit beyond,
Yeah.
probably what I could talk, and I wound up going to Latin America. I never lived in Chile. My relationship with my dad was in shambles.
That was a favorite punishment for Latin mothers, sending you
Yeah,
away.
yeah, that was
Sending you
everything.
away.
Yeah.
That was everything.
Oh my gosh, got stories.
So I go away, and I go, mind you, I grew up with a Guatemalan mom, and I get sent to Chile, which is where my dad's from.
Yeah.
Okay.
If y'all ain't never heard the way Chileans talk, it ain't like
No, I ain't.
any
Come
motherfucking place.
simple.
It ain't like no other place in like the world, right? Let alone Latin America.
Yeah. Shout out my Chilean.
Shout out to all my
family, yo.
Chilenos.
Yeah, well, Chilenos are like a special breed of like Hispanics, yo. I don't know how they're weird, yo. Weird.
And it really is. It's almost like the Japan of Latin America.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they're this long, skinny country separated by the largest mountains in the Americas.
And they got no plátanos over there.
No, not even close. And so constant earthquakes.
Yeah.
And
So, anyways, you arrive in Chile, and what
I'm
happened?
hip hop to the bone, yeah. I used
Okay.
to DJ back then.
How did they receive you over there? Was there hip hop over there? What was the culture over there like?
Yeah, so like it was a really interesting time. When I look back today, at that moment in time I had no idea.
Yeah.
But when I look back today, it was crazy because Chile in 77 had a coup d'etat, right? And you had the military take
That
over
was
the
in
government,
74.
right?
Yeah.
And that person, the general who takes over, was in power for I think 19 years.
Yeah.
When I arrived, it was the year after he came out of power. So for essentially 20 years, you had a general in control,
A dictator.
in control.
Evil dude.
Right?
Dude, yo.
So So and that's an interesting topic. That's a whole podcast right there, right?
Yeah.
But so that
Yeah.
but so
Get
so
into Chilean
yeah, I mean, that's a whole that's like the comments on the podcast, right? Right. So he comes out of power. They have the first democratic elections in 20 years, and I arrive the next year.
Okay.
I have no idea of any of this, right?
Uh-huh.
So everything starts opening.
You can't arrive puro gringo, in other words.
Puro gringo.
Yeah.
Puro gringo.
Yeah.
And everything's opening up in Chile, right? Everything's opening up. And I get there, and like dudes are mad into hip hop. And they're like 6 or 7 years back, right? Because
Were there rap groups over there at the time?
there were like 1 or 2 early rap groups.
Okay.
1 or 2 early rap groups. I arrive, I'm in the 11th grade, and I was gonna finish high school there. I got expelled from school here.
Okay.
Right? So I get expelled from school here, I'm gonna finish high school there, and then the idea was always to go, I was gonna come back. So I get there, and at the time I was writing raps, I was freestyling, but I was really into DJing. That's what I was really into. And I had turntables, I had a crazy collection of music, and I arrived in Chile with this crazy collection of music. And this, to give you an idea, this is like '93. So like we're talking like Wu-Tang, Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style album, The Alcoholics, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, the Black Moon album we was talking about earlier. That's the shit that was like these cats were still on Beastie Boys and Public Enemy.
Okay.
That's all they had access to.
Right.
This is
No internet.
No, and
there's no internet yet. This is no internet. It's almost embarrassing
we're
to
on
say
the
that out loud, right?
VHS exchange.
So
Everything is based upon mail.
so I arrive to this neighborhood to this day is one of the pioneers in hip hop in Chile.
Maquisa. Oh, no.
Right, so Maquisa came out of that. They didn't come out of that neighborhood, but yes, they're influenced by that neighborhood.
Oh, it's a neighborhood.
It's a whole fucking neighborhood.
Oh, okay,
and this
okay.
neighborhood is La Villa Santa Carolina,
Okay,
right?
okay.
And La Villa Santa Carolina.
What city is this in?
This is Santiago.
Santiago.
Everything's in Santiago.
Okay,
In
okay,
Chile, like it's basically
capital,
happened in Santiago
okay.
or Valparaiso. Those are the two main areas, but most of it's Santiago. Right. So I'm in Santiago. I'm at my grandma's house. I'm living in my grandma's house, and I'm going. They're like, don't go hang out over here. So that's exactly where the fuck I went, right? So I go over there, young. They smoking weed.
Right.
They
You're like,
chilling,
oh, shit,
young.
I'm
I'm like, yo, there's no.
I can say.
I'm at home. I'm like, this is where y'all
relate.
sent
I
me.
can relate.
I'm like,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where y'all sent
Yeah,
me.
I can
I'm like,
relate,
yo, you could go buy alcohol.
Right, yeah.
I'm 17.
Yeah.
You could go buy like
I
some.
can relate.
I'm like, what the fuck? Right? There's not a lot of violence. If there's beef, you fight.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. Ain't nobody has a pistol.
Right.
Nobody has a pistol. Stabbing somebody is kind of like, that dude's crazy. Right? And those times, I don't know that it's like that today. So that's when I first get on the stage.
Okay.
That's when I first got on stage. I have my record collection. I love
So
rapping.
you connected over there with the folks that were involved with the music.
You want to meet girls, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Right,
like you want to meet girls, you start going out, people connect with you.
Like,
I knew
el gringo.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to go to the club. I wanted to connect with the DJs. I take vinyl. Right. I knew some raps. I knew some.
You knew lyrics from here and stuff.
I knew other people's raps.
Oh yeah.
I knew other people's raps. Right. And I'd rap a rap. They fucking thought that the fact that I spoke English was crazy to them.
Yeah.
Right. So they put me on the stage. So they'd like have a club night, and they had these club nights that were like under 18. Right? Everybody's under 18. So you had basically like 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And Santiago's a big fucking city, young. It's like 8 million people. It's like 8 million people.
Yeah.
And in that time, you literally could like hop on a bus for about 50 cents. Right? And today, and the equivalent of what 50 cents is to us today, right now. And go anywhere you wanted in the city. And it's a city that's like Baltimore and DC combined. It's like you never saw the end of it. You never saw the end of it. And you could go anywhere you wanted for about 50 cents. I grew up in Falls Church, Virginia. That shit was crazy to me, right? So they were like, young, come out, rap, do what you do, and I do that. And that's how I first got on the stage.
Okay.
And then shortly after, it evolved quickly. That was 11th grade. By the time I left Chile, which after I graduated, I was writing songs and ready to get in the studio
Okay.
and rapping in Spanish.
Okay.
And that's
So-
where the
so
rapping in
did-
Spanish started.
So did you first record in Chile or when you came back to the States? Because I'm guessing
I
sometimes.
first recorded for real here.
Okay.
For real here. Like,
What made you come back to the States?
I got in beef with my dad.
Okay. So it's just
We got drunk.
family issues.
We got drunk. We got some shit, and
Well,
I was
y'all
like,
gotta
"Fuck you."
explain-
Y'all gotta explain that shit because you're like, we done all been through that
Right.
drama, right? But I got to find my
So
dad.
you came back to the States.
and I come back and boom.
Okay, all right. So you come back to the States, and then here, I'm assuming you start networking through your friends or whatever, and find studios, or how did that work?
I didn't start recording product that you listen to, right? Like product that like got released until maybe like 4 years after I'm back. In those 4 years, I'm recording and I'm meeting people and I'm doing shit. But like I was part of groups, you know.
Okay,
Like the first time you heard me as a solo artist. You've never heard me as part of a group.
No.
Yeah,
So,
and nobody has. Nobody has.
Okay.
But I was a part of a group,
What was the name of the group?
a creative rebirth.
Creative Rebirth. That's
Yeah.
a dope name.
Yeah.
All
With this dude from Afghanistan and another dude was the producer. We had a producer, a DJ, and 2 rappers.
right. Okay. Dope.
And we recorded a bunch of shit. Nothing ever got released. We performed a couple of shows.
Okay.
And I wound up going solo. And the material that you probably heard, which was off of my first album, Metamorphosis, released in 2000,
Okay.
was the first product I've ever put out. That's the first recorded material that was ever released in any format.
All right. Dope.
Yeah.
Now, you also released a video, I remember, called the Latino Anthem.
Yeah. So that video was off of that album.
Okay.
And it was on the album, and it was really cutting edge at the time. And, yeah, this is good. This is a fucking...
Now, what was the first song that you wrote in Spanish?
Probably...
Was it that one, or you had
Like, so
something
the first song that I wrote in Spanish that, like, I released was called Universal.
else? Okay.
And it's a hidden song. See, this is some CD shit for, like, the people who don't, like, listen to CDs. Like, people used to, you'd have a CD, and the song would end, and there's, like, a little trick people would do, right? Where, like, the song that ended, the last song on the album that was listed on the album, the album had 12 songs. The last song on the album would end, and it was, like, let's say the song was 4 minutes, and you'd put, like, a little 3-minute space, you put a hidden track.
Oh yeah, I remember.
You remember that
Yeah, I
shit?
remember that shit.
Universal was a hidden track. So my first full Spanish like song was a hidden track.
So your original stuff, you used to write a lot in English, and then you started writing
I'm
Spanish?
primarily an English rapper.
Primarily English.
I'm
okay.
primarily an English rapper.
okay.
And what pushed me more into like the Latin format. That's really fucking interesting talking to Seto. Because Seto's unique because he's like the king of like Spanish,
Yo, we're focusing
English,
on you. We're
hip hop,
focusing on you, bro.
right? Nah, I appreciate it, but like it's so dope. I gotta give context to the question, right, for the way I'm gonna answer it, because like this brother's this is your area of expertise. You're a subject matter expert in this area, so for me, I got pushed into rapping in Spanish. I had the ability. I developed that in Chile. The whole background story we just went over of my reality in Chile. I developed that capability because you ain't gonna show up to a freestyle in Chile and rap in English.
Right.
You gotta show skill,
Exactly.
right? So I showed skill because
Okay.
I got flow and I understand music.
Right.
I have an innate capability for that.
Okay.
So I would do what I could with my language abilities. So maybe I spoke at 80% of the Spanish of another person who was a native speaker who spoke at 100%, but I had better musical understandings,
Okay.
better understanding of the culture and of rap.
Right.
And I would, so I would defend myself. So that being said, as I released my first album and that shit got pushed around and I had a manager and we were pushing and we wound up working with a, what do you call these motherfuckers? The, dudes who get you shows, not a booking agent, but
Promoter?
It's like a promoter, but I'm trying to think of the I haven't fucking used one in so long that I can't even remember the name. But it's do like a promoter, but they basically go out and get you
Booking agents.
yeah, it's not a booking agent or a promoter. I'm trying to think of the name.
Or whatever.
Either
so,
way.
yeah.
But the point is they wind up getting you like media,
Okay.
No.
right? They get
Publicists.
you like it's not publicists, but they get. So I got an NPR, WPGC 95,
Okay.
fucking Telemundo, Univision. Like I did all that shit, did the rounds and all that stuff, and the whole point was to try to get like notice so you could get like more shows.
What time period was this?
This is like 2002
Okay.
all the way through 2010. This whole like heavy like
Okay.
pursuing a more traditional,
Right.
more traditional.
Now during this
format.
time, you've collabed with Sensato, La Bruja, Chingo Bling, Temperamento. Who am I missing? No, if you are Redman, I think, right?
Redman, yeah, bro, collab with a lot of people, and
You release great projects and things like that. Now, I also checked on it that you do trilingual.
yeah. So there's a whole era that I skipped over, which was I wound up moving to France and lived in France for a year. and was learning French, and recorded 2 albums in France.
Oh, wow.
And worked with a French hip hop group, and that's where the whole Anna Tijoux thing.
What took you to
came
France though? Like what?
He got
Yeah.
in trouble.
Yeah,
More trouble?
It's like my man travels when he gets in trouble.
Yeah.
yeah, on the real.
Fuck.
Oh,
Just between us.
Yeah.
So there was this
No,
girl.
don't worry,
this-
nobody's listening.
Nobody
No, no.
listens. Nobody's listening
Nobody
to
listens to our
This is
podcast.
gonna
Between us
resurface.
and like the 3 people that listen.
Yeah.
Nobody
Just,
listens.
just the people in this room. And y'all out there listening. So like, there's this girl that I was nuts about. She was living in Italy, and I was wrapping up college, and she was in Italy studying. She was doing a study abroad, and she spoke French. She was Peruvian. Long story short, I wind up largely influenced by the idea of learning French also to become more attractive, to be in Europe at the same time as this girl, to connect with her. Also, this is before like reggaeton blew up.
Wait, we gotta get to that.
Yeah, it's before
2000.
reggaeton blew up.
So it was like before 2003 then, pretty much. 2004, 2000.
Yeah,
Around there.
yeah, right.
2000s.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
You're spot on. So like, France was the biggest producer of hip hop outside of the United States
Yeah.
prior to that.
Okay.
huge.
And then, when reggaeton blew up, then Latin America did. If you take Latin America as a
Yeah,
whole,
no,
but if
yeah.
you take it as a single country. So I wind up going out there, and a good friend of mine from Chile, from the times I was living out there, was living in Paris, which was Anna Tijoux, who today is blown up.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I'm like, young, I'm going to Paris. She's like, I'm here, let's connect. So she was like the person that like connected with me. So we linked up, and she connected me with a bunch of different French rappers.
Okay.
And that's when I wound up going to their studio. It's sexy to say like, y'all, we went to the studio, but it's like a setup,
Yeah.
like it's a home studio setup. You know what I'm saying? But these cats were nice, and they were like mad hip hop, and it was, how we was having the conversation about Nicki Minaj, Remy Ma, and that whole thing.
Yeah.
This is Remy Ma. This is like hip hop for real. Like this is it. We're smoking hash, drinking, and doing hip hop, and they loved that I rapped in English. They loved that I rapped in Spanish. They loved that I gave a fuck about what they were doing.
That's what's up.
And I loved that they gave a fuck about what I was doing. And I went on 2 different occasions. I was in France, came back, and then I went back. And we recorded 2 albums in that period of time. And we also recorded with an artist that today is a Grammy Award winner, Anna Tijoux.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So we jumping all over the place. This is nice.
but
This
yeah,
is really nice.
Come back. So come back to this. To go back to the 2003, 2004.
What year are we in now?
So we're mid 2000s, right?
So
you're doing hip hop, and I know we've gotten so many discussions about
There's a lot to
reggaeton
talk
and stuff.
about, man.
Yeah. So you start venturing into reggaeton.
Yeah, reggaeton was a problem, yo. That shit was like, so, you could only look at the world through like your lens, right? So for me, like, I'm not marketed and haven't been for a long time a rapper who's primarily an English rapping artist. But that's essentially what I am. The market moved me in a different direction, you know? So it's almost like, you know, if you selling, I don't know, Coca-Cola, right? But your burgers are selling. But you're trying to sell Coca-Cola, but you focus, you got to pay the bills, right?
Yeah.
So, and at that time, you know, I was primarily trying to be an artist. And I wanted to make my living as an artist. So you had to kind of, without compromising your art, find a way to do that. So I started getting booked off of the Latino Anthem video and off of the Metamorphosis album. I had the hidden track and another track called Humaso that I did with a dope producer named Vicious Cycle that were in Spanish. And the Spanish rap shit was what was hitting. The Spanish rap shit was like other stuff was like and cats were like, you know, you could rhyme, but like what would pay me, because you know, like you ever seen that dude? There's this dude, he's got a whole brand. It's like T-shirts and everything. It's like fuck you, pay me, right? Yeah. Like the pay me part of it was always like something to do with Latin culture.
Okay.
Whether it was just me rapping in English, but representing in some, you know, context, Latin culture, or the Spanish aspect of it. So I started working on more material like that.
Okay.
And then that subsequently, like, what came out was more material like that.
Right.
And that's what got me all the college gigs.
All
So
right.
that's when I went on, like, the college tours.
Okay.
So how did like, I know being a hip hop artist, or at least Latin hip hop artist, how did reggaeton influence, or at least that culture, when it was introduced here to the States? Because back in 2003, 2004, reggaeton was still an underground kind of like music. It was like what?
It was underground getting ready to
Exactly.
cross
So
over.
to cross over. So how did that affect you when you try to book shows and like for Univision or even book shows in general?
So, like, in booking shows...
Was it opening more? I'm assuming it opened more doors and stuff.
Yeah, it definitely opened more doors. It definitely, I started performing at clubs in D.C., right? So I started getting booked at clubs in D.C., like... the clubs at that time. So I was like Dream and fucking and all that fucking shit, right? What was crazy about it was, and in this sense, I might be a little bit less orthodox than a lot of
That's
other
fine.
cats.
Yeah.
I love music.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a song that a lot of cats that are hardcore hip hop are kind of like, why the fuck you released that song? But it's called Reggaeton versus Hip Hop.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
You remember that track?
Yeah.
And this is a track I caught a lot of flack about it. I have motherfuckers writing comments and shit, right? And I was like, what?
This is MySpace days, because I remember when this shit came out.
Yeah.
'cause I was barely getting into music. I was probably like, I want to say 17 at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I remember this shit because I remember that. And that's
17 on MySpace.
yeah. No.
do the math, right? Do the
Yeah, I was
math.
trying to do the math because like I remember exactly
I would've been
when
balling.
that came out.
So that song basically is about what that song's about is reggaeton was blown up. Like there's no motherfucking thing you could do about that shit, right?
Right,
That shit,
right, right.
that shit done happen.
Right.
But they rapping, right? I mean, other than the singing cats, but the cats that are rapping. There goes rapping. When Daddy Yankee wants to rap, he's rapping. The
Right,
other cat,
right,
they're
right,
rapping.
right.
Yeah.
And some of them, whether you like Dembo or not, got flow. They got lyrics. They got talent.
Yeah.
You can't front on that shit. And that's the angle I always came from. I was like, look, I don't want to listen.
You looked at it through the hip hop lens.
I looked at it through the hip hop lens.
Yeah.
I looked at it through the hip hop
Yeah,
lens.
yeah.
If there was a whole subgenre of go-go rap,
Right.
there's gonna be cats that are whack and cats that are dope,
Yeah.
right? And I would look at it as just that. I look at the shit that I thought was dope and I looked at it just as that. Now, what happened was it almost became like two political parties, right? Like there was a reggaeton, and that shit was evil,
Right.
and then there was like real hip hop.
Yeah.
And like I stood on the sidelines of that whole shit. You know, I was like, no,
Whatever. You're just you're making your music.
I made my music.
Right,
I made my
right.
music, and that song "Reggaeton versus Hip Hop" was essentially about that. And it was about reggaeton is here. Reggaeton gets at least a major portion of its influence from hip hop. Don't ever fucking forget where that influence came from.
Right.
But don't miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
But don't you feel like the reggaeton kind of, when reggaeton popped off, it kind of killed the chances of Latin hip hop evolving? As far as like, okay, and let's put it to a point of, let's say, American rap, right? You have your subgenres of what hip hop is, but in its own way, hip hop has still evolved into whatever it is now, but still called under the umbrella of hip hop. Reggaeton didn't do that; it just became its own genre, right? So now it kind of, so instead of Latin hip hop becoming commercially accepted, reggaeton kind of phased it out when it blew up. So don't you think, like, at least where I'm going with this question is, don't you think reggaeton had, at least in this area, had something to do with a lot of the influence as far as Latin hip hop getting bigger than what it's supposed to be?
Yeah, bro.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Can't fucking do anything about that, though. What, you gonna stop innovation?
I mean,
You can't do nothing about that. I mean, tomorrow, if rappers rapping on drum and bass or EDM or some shit like that takes over,
yeah.
and people to be like, "Yo, that shit killed hip hop culture," some other dude in the future might be like, "Yeah, you're right. Fuck you gonna do? You can't taper that. You can't stop people from being in their home studio rapping on a dembow beat in Spanish." Like at the end of the day, as an individual, I look at it like this. All right, there's the culture of art, and then there's individuals doing art trying to make a living off of it, right?
Yeah.
And you can't stop a dude who has a good idea in Puerto Rico that's trying to feed his baby and tell him to shut the fuck up and not do that, right?
No. I mean, I feel where you're
You
coming
see what I'm
from.
saying?
No,
you can't stop that.
No,
You can't stop a whole,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
ultimately, that's what they did. And if that wound up being more popular, doper, whatever the whatever it is, more business oriented, you could blame it on whatever, young. You could blame it on like Puerto Ricans run industries, Cubans run industries, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, it happened and they made quality music. Maybe more quality. I can tell you this as a Latin hip hop.
Yeah, no, I get you. But it also comes into play. What about all the? Because as far as Latin hip hop goes, there is a culture out there. There's a culture. There's a big culture that's being not represented. So and there is money to be made as far as records go, as far as videos go.
Cats make money.
I mean, they don't.
Cats make money.
Yeah, but in order to get in that commercial level, as far as bringing hip hop to what the black community has done, because you still have aspects of hip hop. We have whatever we call mumble rap now. We have the J. Cole's and Kendrick Lamar's.
Yeah.
We were making real raps. You have the Drakes who are doing more pop kind of hip hop. You don't have that with the Latin community.
I don't know that you will. Young, you got to realize that the United States is the largest economy in the world and will be probably for the next 100 years. When you big here, you're the biggest in the world.
Yeah.
Right? 1. 2, black culture runs deep.
Yeah.
It runs deep. It runs into Latin culture.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Our culture is not running necessarily as much into black culture. That culture is running into our culture.
I wouldn't.
Right?
Not
Think
really.
about it.
Not really.
Think about it.
Because if you think about it too, because like, all right, let's take 2005 when G Unit or 50 Cent, you had P Diddy try to market or try to get into the reggaeton game, they couldn't do it. Because you're
reiterating
No,
what
no.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're actually
Okay, so-
reiterating what I'm
dude,
saying.
Yeah.
What do you collab with again?
He did. Daddy Yankee did. He was.
Daddy Yankee
he was signed-
and 50
he-
Cent
he
even
was-
went
he
to
got a
Colombia.
deal.
and
Where
tried to
Pitbull
sign
was the
some artists
president
over
of his
there.
label. I was at that release
That
party.
didn't even work out and
At
stuff
all,
like that.
at
Yeah,
all,
yeah,
at all.
yeah.
But I was at the release
Yeah.
party. It's a good fucking party.
Yeah. They tried to put some random R&B singer. He was gonna pop up, and that didn't work out.
Yeah,
and stuff.
but
Yeah.
but listen, like to get to your point,
Some
Yeah,
banana
right?
singer and stuff,
If
yeah.
your point is to somehow reggaeton handicap Latin hip hop,
I'm not saying it handicapped it. I'm saying that to a certain extent, like now, okay,
Reggaeton is the stepsister of hip hop.
no, I mean we
That-
understand that, but
that's-
it's just reggaeton became so much bigger and it's evolved and had its own evolution as a different genre.
Yeah,
Latin
yeah,
hip.
yeah.
Okay, so Latin hip hop has its pioneers. It has its followers, it has a community.
Right,
But commercially, but you find these communities where cats are making money within their cities or within like a smaller circle, then you would have them do something commercially. You feel me? Like, I'm not saying that it should be a culture that
think it
phases
is.
out reggaeton
Well,
or whatever. I'm saying that it's like, let's say, like in Spain or in Spain, for example, right? You have all these top-notch artists that are, Spain is a big party city. Madrid's a big party
Yeah.
city.
Trap is big over there. now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hip hop, as Latin hip hop, is a bigger city. There is a bigger influence.
Yeah.
There's influence. Even Latin guys here, you hear Notch, you hear like all these other guys from even from Mexico, who have this community or have this culture that in their countries they're making something, but for some reason Latin hip hop in the States, which we have a bigger majority of culture as far as Latinos go, that hasn't evolved at all.
It's not that it hasn't evolved. There's a real simple explanation to that. It has to do with language. You know, the
But I mean,
majority
but-
of language
But
that, that's done
reggaeton has done it.
Right, but you have to remember, within Latin culture, one of the biggest things with us is how do you dance that? That's the first question that they're gonna ask you with any music genre.
But then how do you dance?
¿Cómo se baila?
So how do you dance
You
to a
know,
Nicki Minaj track? Or how do you dance to a
exactly?
like-
You can easily show somebody how you could dance to a Nicki Minaj track or any pop music and things like that. So when it comes to hip hop and Espanol, Latin hip hop, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
things like that, the first question that anybody in Latin America is going to ask you is, how do you dance that? And that is the biggest difficult part and things like that when a lot of the music is socially conscious. So
I'll piggyback off that comment, and it was sort of I'm piggybacking off his comment, but he might not agree with what I'm gonna say, right? But when we're talking about mainstream culture, because that's what we're talking about,
Commercially,
right? Right, we're talking about mainstream culture. Like the point you're bringing is essentially talking about I did a track called Reggaeton versus Hip Hop, and then how do I feel about reggaeton, how it's blown up and basically become mainstream, and Latin hip hop has not.
Yeah.
Right. And when we talk about mainstream culture, the one thing that we always have to remember, right? And this came up earlier when you guys were talking about the movie would Get Out, and you were like, would it happen if it was like
Reversed,
right? When we talk about mainstream culture, everything's star driven.
Okay.
Everything's star driven. There's boxers today that are better than Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
And way the fuck better than Conor McGregor if we're talking boxing.
that all
That's
depends
the-
the
that's
era
the-
you were born in. Because if you were born in the Muhammad Ali era, you'd be like, nah, Muhammad Ali was the best. Today, all the kids say, yo, Mayweather's the best because they grew up, they saw Mayweather. If you're from my era, you say, nah, Tyson is the best.
So
You know what I'm saying?
the point I'm trying to make is that like everything's star driven.
Yeah.
Latin hip hop has not had a big enough star yet.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
I see it.
We have had a Drake. It's Daddy Yankee. He just happened to do it over reggaeton. He sings, he raps.
Yeah. He changed the
Right?
radio, the way how
He
people
sings, he
was
raps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you listen to a Daddy Yankee, if you fucking go and listen to Daddy Yankee's catalog,
No, yeah.
half of it's dembo, half of it's rap. You can't front on that shit.
Yeah, well, the earlier stuff. Yeah.
No.
No, even the newer stuff is not like that anymore.
No, well, maybe not. Maybe
he's rapping
he-
some
he-
kind of way.
Yeah.
but he raps. He raps a lot.
He's not Carlos Vives in that.
No, no.
You know what I'm saying? He's
So-
spitting
Well,
some
yeah.
kind of bars.
I can
you know?
tell you. I can tell you what I'm more familiar with because
Yeah.
I haven't listened.
So,
I don't know
okay.
when the fuck he listened, but
All right, but
you listen to Barrio Fino,
yeah.
which is what blew him up,
2005. Yeah.
half and half.
Yeah.
It's half hip hop and half reggaeton. The reggaeton shit blew him up, but like he's rapping now. So this is the thing, right? If an artist would have come out, there was no reggaeton on it, right? This is what Anna Tijoux did, right? Like she came out as a female MC and she did hip hop. Period.
Created one of the album's most
Right.
respected throughout the whole world and things like that.
And
like a world album.
and she never became like a Nicki Minaj,
No, you understand
right?
that, yeah.
But she could tour and she could make a decent living off of
I
it.
mean, so can La Bruja and so can Malafe and all, you know?
No, Anna Tijoux on a
Yeah.
higher
No,
level.
I'm saying as far as Latin Yeah.
Sure, bro. Yeah, you're exactly right. But we're talking about how can we get to that Yankee level? No, we really talk about how can you get to that Nicki and Drake level.
Right.
Yeah.
At a minimum, why the fuck can't we get to that Yankee or Tego or Don Omar level?
Yeah.
Right? That's what we're saying. Like, if we can't get to that level, well, why can't these other cats did it rapping, but essentially rapping,
Yeah.
right? Or doing urban culture for real, right?
Okay.
At a minimum, it's urban
Yeah.
culture,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? Why can't we do that? And my argument would simply be, for one reason or another, and I don't have the fucking answer to that shit, right? I ain't Doctor Strange in this motherfucker, right?
No.
But
If you got the answers, drop it
I
in the
would say
comments.
it's star driven.
Okay.
It's star driven.
Definitely.
So there hasn't been a not
So how do you-
talent.
So how do you explain
star.
the blow up in trap culture when it comes to that mainstream media?
Gucci? That
No,
shit's
I'm talking
Gucci.
about in the Latin community.
With the Latin community,
That shit's
how-
still Gucci. The whole trap thing's Gucci.
Yeah, but then you're skipping a
but
whole.
no. What he's trying to say is, how is it that now trap is so widely accepted within the land community, and they skipped over hip hop? It's like we don't
Trap
want
is
anything
hip-hop.
to. No, wait, nah.
We gotta be real specific. We gotta be real specific. There's two traps. There's two traps. Are we talking EDM trap? Are we talking trap like this is the trap house?
Yeah, exactly.
What are we
'Cause
talking about? Right? There's two different traps, right? Are we talking about
when we say
Moombaton?
trap music, I'm talking about what Katy Perry did. You know, with the what was it, Black Widow and thing, because that's what eventually is popping off. and
I don't
stuff,
know who
you
she
what
is. Like, I need to know. Are we talking about electronic based music?
I mean?
Are we
We're
talking
not
about hip hop?
T.I.'s album.
No, we're talking about- we're talking about-
T.I.
Yeah.
that's trap,
T.I.
right?
is the original
Yeah.
that created the trap music album and things
I
like
wouldn't
that.
say create. He started.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
created,
yeah.
and I wasn't
Yeah.
original.
He helped put on the platform.
Yeah,
Okay,
he
so
put it
we
on
are
the
talking about
platform.
hip-hop.
Yeah. No. Trap,
Yeah,
trap,
so it's on the
listen,
point,
listen,
yeah.
nah. Trap, I'm
Subgenre.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Maybe I missed out some.
No, I'm sorry. To
You know
me,
I'll be in the
trap
woods
is
now.
not hip hop. Trap is its own music genre, just like reggaeton. It is
ongoing
basically
thing
the
here.
step brother of reggaeton, of hip hop and stuff. Hip hop is the main shit, yo.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But trap is basically the step brother. Reggaeton is the step
It's
sister.
like subgenre. pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Or subculture of the culture.
You always try to say it's its own genre.
It's not.
It,
yeah.
it is. It
Well,
is because
no,
Alright,
trap
so,
has
okay,
that
we
influence of
understand,
EDM.
alright.
Listen. Trap has that influence of EDM music, right? Reggaeton has that influence of Latin music. You know what I mean? Different thing, but they always come from the same father, hip hop.
All right.
You know what I mean?
So
It's
what's
the
the
same
que-
thing
what's the
with
okay,
rock.
so
With rock
you know
music.
the with trap will be nice. You have the ASAP Fergs, you have ASAP Rocky, you
Yeah.
have like all these guys who are making trap music.
That shit to me is just hip hop.
I mean, it is,
it's
but
rap over different music because you can rap.
Yeah, and that
over-
shit's hip hop.
What's Limp
That's
Bizkit?
hip hop in
Limp
2017.
Bizkit. All right, so what's Limp Bizkit?
Rock and roll influenced. It's actually
rock rap.
No,
It's rock rap. It's the
it's
same
actually
thing as
hip hop influenced rock and roll. It's
Okay.
rock and roll.
Same
Limp
thing as
Bizkit's
trap.
rock and roll,
Same
but it's
thing
hip hop
as trap.
influenced.
It's trap has those EDM, that club music, that dubstep music influence, and then you mixed it with a fusion of rap music.
I
yo.
disagree.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. We can
I may be 100%.
That's
And listen,
fine. We
and
can
listen.
agree to
At
disagree.
this point, I'm
Yeah.
an old man.
Yeah.
We've
Right.
had this conversation many
So I may
times.
be 1,000% wrong. And to all the people who are like mad trap heads, my apologies. But in
Again,
my humble
wait,
opinion,
you said it yourself.
right?
There's
In my
trap heads.
in my humble opinion,
There's trap heads,
and
just
that's
like
cool.
there's reggaeton heads and,
And
there's
that's-
hip hop
and that's cool.
heads.
But
So by
and-
saying that they are different genre music. You can't say that all of them are hip hop.
No, see, I
You
don't agree
can't.
with that. Just the fact that I said trap heads doesn't mean it's a different genre of music, right? Like you could be fucking an old school head, right? You could be a West Coast head.
Yeah, like
You know what I'm
go
saying?
back to
You could
those
be a
days.
fucking
You
East
had
Coast stomp
You
head.
had East Coast rap and you had West Coast rap. It was
yeah.
all hip hop.
It still is.
It was just a different sound,
like,
no?
Like as a genre,
It's
hip hop.
different. It's
Hip hop
different.
is a
It's
genre
different.
of music.
Hip hop
is a genre of music.
funk music.
Right?
Nah, hold
Rock-
on. I'm
rock and
sorry.
roll.
I'm sorry. I'm
Sure,
sorry.
sure.
I'm sorry. Hip hop comes from funk. It
No,
comes from
no.
the samples of funk.
No.
If that's like saying James Brown has nothing to do with hip hop.
I didn't say that, but it doesn't mean that it comes
if
from it.
trap music is hip hop, then where is the relation of James Brown with trap music?
But see, but the fact that you said that funk
Nah,
The hip hop comes from
That's my
funk.
question.
disco.
If
Okay,
James
okay.
Brown,
But-
if
but-
James Brown,
funk, it was
if so many rap
soul, it was
records,
everything.
Yo, if you're right. But one of the main ones was James Brown and funk music that was played because these are
But that's an
these are
that's
the
an
break beats that
important-
were sampled.
that's an
If
important
that's the case,
categorizer.
if these are we gotta think when it comes back to the production because it all comes down to the production.
Sure, that's the beat.
So right, the beat. So the beat from hip hop music comes from sampled beats. For I don't care if you're in the West Coast, you were sampling funkified music, George Clinton, and the whole Funkadelics, all of that stuff. And you were sampling Motown and everything like that. You listen to these samples. How are you gonna compare these samples to music that was electronically produced off of keyboards, off of 808 music and things like that? It's a completely different genre of music.
Nah.
But they are
That's not true.
influenced by it and stuff.
Nah, everybody who's
Because they took
everybody who's
the
listening
element,
to this shit right
no,
now,
listen, they
Christopolis
took
thinks
the
he's
element.
wrong.
They took one element, which is rap. Rap.
Yeah.
You can grab rap. You could put rap over a country beat.
Yeah.
You could put rap over a reggaeton beat, rap over salsa, rap over anything, and automatically by putting that rap over something, you're gonna be, oh, that has that little touch of hip hop. It's the same thing when you grab that
Right.
EDM music, you put rap over EDM, over a techno beat, over anything. Oh, that has that touch of EDM. What happened was that the trap sound, that trap 808 and things like that, that you put that rap and that people want to accept it as it's rap, as hip hop culture. It's not. It's a different genre of music.
I disagree.
Just like reggaeton and putting rap over rock. If you're going to say that trap is hip hop, that's saying that rap rock is hip hop. And if that's the case, they're not played in the same spaces, same medias of music. It's completely different genres of music.
So I think that this is important to like put out there. First is that like what you're listening to is a fucking subject matter expert. This motherfucker is like a professor of this is real shit of not only hip hop but specifically hip hop Latino. All right. Now, I'd probably be like the assistant of the professor, right? I know a thing or two.
I didn't want
right?
to get deep into this.
But it's good. That's what
Yeah.
the fuck this is for, right? Like this is actually what the fuck he and I would be talking about after a couple rum and cokes, not that we've had any, at his crib, all right? That being said, I have to be my own individual and give you my honest opinion.
No, yeah.
That's
Right?
That's fine.
Right? And
That's
that's
all
real
right.
talk.
It's all about
No,
you.
That's
no,
real
yeah,
talk.
no, no,
That's
yeah,
real talk.
yeah, that's what we
right?
asked for.
That's real talk. And the fact of the matter is this. I feel the hip hop, not Latin trap or whatever the fuck. I feel the hip hop is a sound that exists in all music. It always has. And what the original innovators, the DJs, did was they went and they found breaks. A lot of those breaks were in James Brown and George Clinton. A lot of those breaks were not. They were in rock and roll. Right? So essentially, what you had was a sound that existed in the universe that a producer, a person with a producer's ear, which was the DJ originally in hip hop, would take and loop. And that then you bring an MC and he would rap on that. And for me, anything you could do that over falls within the universe of hip hop. That's it.
I mean,
That's it.
Just in the way that the music is
Yeah,
created.
yeah, but we're getting a little bit off topic on that. But
and then you may have shit that's more EDM influence, more rock and roll influence.
okay, but we're getting
you get all sorts of
okay,
crazy
but
shit.
we're talking about that. We're getting a little bit off the topic here. But I'm talking. Okay, so in modern day culture, like in America, right? We have no matter what it is, hip hop, trap, whatever. You have the community, no matter what it is split between different subgenres of what we call hip hop, right? We have people who enjoy the rap,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah,
more like
today there's so many
Yeah.
subgenres.
exactly.
of hip-hop,
So
yeah.
reggaeton doesn't have those subgenres. Or at least Latin
It
culture.
kind of does.
No.
Dembo is a subgenre of
But
reggaeton.
Dembo is his own sound. I guess you
You have the
break it down.
commercial
I
sounds
mean, like
of
it's its own
reggaeton.
genre.
No, it's not its own genre.
I think
But
reggaeton is a subgenre of reggaeton.
You mean reggaeton's a subgenre of reggaeton?
No,
That's
no.
what you said.
Dembo is a subgenre
Yeah.
of reggaeton. Yeah.
no, but I'm saying like as far you don't have as far as the urban community in Latin America or Latin urban community, we don't have that option to be like, oh, fuck it, let me listen to a J. Cole instead of A$AP Rocky. Let me listen to,
I think
we don't.
We
not
do.
as far as like, well, as
We
far as
do.
commercially, we don't.
Well, that's good though.
Why is that
Because
good? Because then at the end of the day, you're an artist. You're trying to feed,
It's good because you know why? Because when I first started listening to guys, what's that sound? Y'all hear that sound?
No.
You got a cell phone next to the mic? It's good because when I first started listening to hip hop, I used to like hip hop that was not played on the mainstream. I like any music that was not played on the mainstream. To this day, I listen to music that's not played on the mainstream. So as long as the music I'm listening is not played on the mainstream, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
So right now there's music out there.
But I feel like
Right, but
Yeah.
you love that.
yeah.
Now, how about the artist is making the music? Like he said, he's trying to.
But
feed
there's
his family.
artists that are
He's trying to put
feeding
some cheddar in his
families and
pocket.
living off of this.
No,
and
but
things like
imagine,
that.
imagine.
It's a long discussion and stuff, Let's go back to focusing on Cristopolis because we're not even halfway. We're gonna probably have to do a part 2 on this.
That's cool.
But all right. So wow, you see that?
So the last thing I remember,
reggaeton versus hip hop.
but that's what I try to do.
Wait, 80 minutes. 80.
That's what I try to do. Like as an artist, like you always try to pull up something that's fucking controversial, right? When I did reggaeton versus hip hop, I knew I had a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I knew that I needed to come at that from like my angle. Because there was cats that were like hardcore, like against fucking reggaeton. And I didn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And not only did I didn't feel that way, I felt it was a subgenre of hip hop. And I feel that it's a subgenre of hip hop. And I feel trap is a subgenre of hip hop. And that's what I represented in my music. Shit's mad controversial. I got made a lot of money off of that song. I got booked a whole lot off of that motherfucking song.
It's a song that
Hopefully, if y'all listen to this joint right now, Cristopolis.com, hit me up for some shows. That's where the money at.
And just that one song created a tremenda discurso right there. And
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
What as far we talked a little bit about trap. Is there any Cristopolis trap music out there or coming out, or how do you feel about it? Since you said it's hip hop.
Honestly, like I don't actually know if what I do if I have any songs out there that are over trap beats. Like I try, and it's challenging at times because I'm not really a big fan of mumble rap and shit. And like I respect what those cats are doing. I respect the youth. And if you look at this shit like what's selling on the radio, who's selling out shows, who's getting paid to make money, like if the motherfuckers making more money than me off of music, which if you're making more than 20 G's a year off of music, you're making more money than me off of music, right? Like, and that's real talk. Motherfuckers don't put their numbers out there. I'm one of the first cats that'll put his numbers out there because I don't care. I'll tell you every motherfucking thing because I think there's too many smoke and mirrors in the industry. If you're making more than that, and then I got respect for your hustle, whether I like your craft or not. I got respect for your hustle. And, if Migos could make a dope video, do a song like T-Shirt that sounds like shit to me personally, but the people love it, and I'm walking down the street. I was at a house I have in D.C., walking down the street, and the dude was like, damn it, don't, get up, don't. And I was like, does he know my lyrics? Does he even know who he's walking past on the street? Has no idea. So for me, like, I respect the youth. I respect what artists are doing that are making money. And I don't want to be out of touch is what I want to be. I don't want to be one of these dudes who's listening to classic rap and, like, that's what the fuck I'm stuck in, right? So I try to stay relevant, and I listen to current producers. I work with current producers and listen to everything. But you can't, and you know this as an artist, you can't make a song over a beat that you're not feeling. So whether what the fuck I've done, I released, I think, like 25 songs last year in 2016.
Wow.
Right? Like, if one of those is over a trap beat, I don't know.
All these songs are where?
Cristopolis.com and on Spotify.
All right.
So, like, if one of those is over a trap beat, I don't know. I try to stay relevant. That being said, you can't help but to be a product of your environment and of your era. I'm from the East Coast. I love East Coast beats. I love fucking some boom bap shit, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So like I don't know if I have or if I haven't.
What is I guess like some of your latest projects, or so the listeners could find you.
Yeah. So like as a real artist, like I'm gonna tell you the most recent track I released that I'm proud of, and there's a jam that is called Chameleons that I released like 2 months ago, 3 months ago maybe, and this shit's on Spotify. Cristopolis Chameleons. I think that shit's hot, and that's a joint that like if you come to my crib and we chilling and we drinking and we smoking, and I'm gonna play this shit for you. You know, like yeah, check this out. You know what I'm saying? I love the beat. I love the flow that I do. That shit might be trap. Maybe that's trap. You know what I'm saying? I recently was nominated as a finalist in the John Lennon Songwriting Contest.
Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. For 2016, for a song called Freedom, that came out maybe like 4 or 5 months ago. That song was also nominated. The same song was nominated in the Mid-Atlantic Songwriting Contest as a finalist also, right? I didn't win the shits, but I was close, right?
Hey,
And then I got in there. And then this year in 2017, I'm gonna be releasing some random singles, but my focus is on an album called The Genius Society.
Okay.
And that album, it's a concept album. I haven't done a concept album in a while, and I'm really excited about it because, like if you hear a dope beat, like as a rap artist, it's relatively easy, like to get in and buckle down and like pour out your heart, right? Like the beat has the emotion already in it. So you kind of find that emotion, then you just like let it go. So that's easier to do. When you sit back with a topic and you got to go deep, that shit's harder. And The Genius Society, it's an album that's about all famous.
Like autobiographies and things.
It's essentially that's the best way to put it. It's all autobiographies.
You got Martin Luther King.
Yeah. So I've released 2 of those songs already. Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
So the song's just called Alexander, and Martin Luther King. And right now I'm working on Pythagoras.
That's dope.
Yeah, I think
educational and stuff.
Yeah, it's educational. It's not necessarily meant to be educational. It's some shit I'm on. Yeah, that's just me.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Like I have a
like the
philosophy
concept.
degree.
Yeah.
Like if you chill and hang out with me, that's the shit I'm into. I'm gonna talk to you about knowledge. I'm gonna talk to you about geopolitical strategy. I'm gonna talk to you about. We could talk about Trump, and I'm gonna go back to Constantine the Great. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk real shit, and that's just the way I am. That's just the way I was made. And like this is kind of tapping into something, an idea that I've had for a while. I haven't seen it out there. I wanted to, kind of like focus on a project this year. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I've got a short list of people, and then I'm looking for beats. And when I find a beat that matches a person, and then I'm motivated, and then that's what I'm gonna do. But the idea is to release that in 2017. Okay. And the total project is called The Genius Society, and I can tell you right now, just knowing me, I know I'm gonna do a song on Nietzsche. I know I'm gonna do a song on Confucius, probably Napoleon.
No, don't tell us too much. We're gonna have to look out.
But that's where we're at.
Society. I was going to ask you real quick. You also run a website, landhiphop.co.
Yeah. So I've like actually had a blog that I've written for a while that's based on Latino hip hop, and it's originally was like latinohiphop.org, then it was latinhiphop.co, and then now you're always looking for the best URL, right? You're looking for like essentially what I'm looking for is latinhiphop.com, right? Mm-hmm. But like they was trying to charge me for like 10 G's, and I was like, well, so I got the latest. I have all those, but it's basically Latin.hiphop.
Okay.
Latin.hiphop, and basically I focus on either hip hop in Spanish or American rappers that have a Spanish influence in their hip hop. So they could be they could be Latino, or they could not be Latino, but they're rapping on a beat that's got like some sort of Latino influence.
As far as like your sounds, do you use a lot of the same producers? Where do you getting your production from these days?
Yeah, I get most of my production from the internet today.
Okay.
Right? A variety of producers, but from the internet. So I've been in the game long enough that like you couldn't do that shit like when I first started, right? You had to know motherfuckers and go to their crib and dig through crates with them and like get beats and have relationships, and it was almost like a girl. Like, yeah, it's your girl and your producers, right? But today, every time I come across a beat that's dope, I look up the producer, and then you wind up having a catalog of cats. You sign up for the mailing list. If they're not that savvy, a lot of times like the dope cats aren't. You know what I'm saying? They're retarded with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they make dope beats, but they don't actually like have a good business going on. But basically, I get my shit from a variety of people from around the world, but
That's
most
what's
of it's over the internet.
That's what's up.
And I buy the beats. I buy the rights to the beats.
Okay, cool.
Dope. You working on any next projects?
So the Dig Genius Society is the main thing for 2017.
Okay.
And other than that, I'll be releasing singles as like basically if a dope beat, music is time sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I come across a dope beat, that shit ain't gonna be as dope next year. Like it might still be hot, right? But it ain't gonna be like the fire. So like if I'm motivated, I'm not gonna let the fact that I'm working on Dig Genius stop me from doing a song.
Okay.
Right? So like there will be singles that come out randomly like on Spotify and iTunes and shit like that this year. That aren't part of Dig Genius, but my core project this year is the Dig Genius Society that I'm working on.
All right. Where can we find you on social media? Or anywhere and stuff.
Yeah. So my website's Cristopolis.com. And then other than that, like Cristopolis everything. So it's like Facebook Cristopolis, Instagram @Cristopolis, Twitter @Cristopolis.
Okay.
Cristopolis without an H.
All right. And any last shout outs?
Thanks for listening. Thank you for having me.
Definitely.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's an honor to have you here.
Whenever somebody wants to talk to you about your craft.
We're definitely gonna have to get you in
Yeah,
part two
part
here.
Yeah, I'm always down, and at this point, like I've been in the game a long time, and like a lot of I've been at that point, obviously, like where you're young and you come in, you're like, young, I'm from DMV, we're gonna fucking do this shit. I got this show going on. Look, I make about 20 G's a year, and that's where I'm at, and I'm not making 100, so I ain't doing it full time, right? That said, I know a lot of fucking shit. I've done a lot of fucking shit, and I make good music, and I'm dope.
You've been doing this like 20 years.
I've been doing this like 20
So
years.
I mean, you've probably seen changes.
I've seen a lot of cats blow up.
Right.
I'm sitting here like I'm sitting with you guys,
Yeah.
and I've seen 10 times as many cats quit, right? And I've seen a smaller number of cats than those two different pools of people still grinding. This is one of them right here. And at the end of the day, the way I look at it is that there's people who do shit because it's cool. There's people who fucking blow up. And then there's cats who are real artists. And I'm going to be, like, right now, if I win the lottery, right, I win the $500 million, right? Yeah, I build a studio. I build a studio and I fucking do music. That's what I would do. This is what I do.
It's your passion.
This is
It's
everything.
life.
This is my life. When I die, whatever I do at my day gig, nobody will fucking know or remember a motherfucking thing. But somebody may play my songs.
Before we go, I got a question for you. Like you said, you grew up VA pretty much for the most part, Falls Church. So I assume like when you started writing, penning, you were a VA guy. How were you like accepted like as far as like DC cats? Were there a lot of battles? Did you feel like maybe you had to prove yourself, especially being a Latino?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then being a VA Latino. Like,
Yeah.
Was it something like that situation where you had to like
Good question.
battle other cats like local DC cats?
Yeah. So locally, like when I first came on the scene, it was around the same time when DC started getting, I would say, the currently well-established scene, right?
I just remember Question Mark Asylum back then.
Yeah.
95, 90.
So around the same time that I was recording, right, the same studio I was recording out of, which was Depth Charge Studios, was a lot of the DC cats were recording there because there was just no DC. I mean, the DC that's today in 2017, it's a different scene than like in those times. So like the Infinite Loop cats and like Head Rock and like those cats, they were recording at the same studio I was. You know what I'm saying? Like I met Head Rock in the studio at Depth Charge recorded my first album.
Wow.
You know, so like in that sense, there was some getting to know people. When I actually got out in the scene, I was fortunate that when I came out, having a CD and having a music video and those types of things were a big fucking deal. And like the fact that I had that already like allowed me to have a certain degree of respect within the community, you know, and I was able to get booked up into shows and things like that. But very quickly, without me wanting it to be that way, and we covered this earlier, after the release of my first album, I got pushed into like the Latino angle, and my show started to reflect that. So like, you know, if you get hired to perform for the Hispanic chapter of Omega Phi some shit at, you know, a university in Maryland, you can't come with like no Latin material. So I created Latin material. I have so much material that's never been recorded. You know, you like pull beats, you just find shit, you just do stuff. And then you call me to come do a show over here, like on U Street, and I bring my show. I bring my show, which is very Latin hip hop. And the one thing I could say about DC, about the hip hop heads from DC, they were always super receptive and super dope. And there'd be freestyle sessions afterwards, and I'd flow in English, but my show and my overall, I guess, branding, right, very early on was like as a Latin hip hop artist. Even though I think my strength is in English, is what I think my strength is. I could speak. I'm fluent in Spanish. I have albums in Spanish, but I think that I'm an American rapper who happened to live in Latin America and who could rap in Spanish, and who's good at music, and like I've written songs in French. You know what I'm saying? So like I could make a song, but like I'm an American rapper. So although my show had a very strong Latin flavor to it, they could relate to it because a lot of the lyrics were in English, and it was receptive. But it wasn't necessarily like a battle thing. I never really experienced that battle thing, and I'm not really good at battling. I'm not a battle rapper. That whole aspect of the I could, you know, when my shit's polished and I'm doing it frequently enough, I'm a really dope freestyle artist. But I'm not a dope battle artist. That's not really my shit at all.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Any last plugs you want to give?
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, mad props to the podcast for having me on.
Yeah,
to everybody who's listening, for supporting real hip hop, because this shit is like real talk right here. Like you know, if you're listening to this right now, you want to know like some nitty gritty, and we get into
listening.
it. You know, and you know what I mean? Like, thank you all for having me out.
Definitely,
I really appreciate it.
And it's an honor having you, man, because I like, especially when I started coming into the game, it's just, at least in this area, I knew who you were, and I've listened to you, and like, it's an honor having you on the show.
I remember bumping into this guy at
Yeah.
Lucky Bar.
Yeah, bro, I've been around for a minute.
Mondays, and he'd always be like, "Yo, here's my album. This is my project."
Yeah.
This is my
That's
project."
me, man.
So,
And I think met you through my cousin Rafael Almonte.
That's my brother, man.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I remember bumping heads with you. And stuff.
Yeah, it's my brother.
Shout out to Fat Cats.
Shout out to Fat
DJ
Cats,
E.
DJ E Boogie, to Ryan Yell, to my dancers, to Clagus Agency for booking the shows. Yeah.
Dope. All right. Now, we want to thank you, Cristopolis. Thank you for coming by the show. We can get into deep discussions. We might have to do a part 2 with you.
Listen,
No,
I'd be down to come do a part
yeah.
2. I would love to talk about the business shit.
Yeah.
I would love to talk like younger cats out there in the industry,
Right,
how do you
right.
fucking make money
No,
off of this
there's
shit.
so much that we
That's the
haven't-
shit I would love to talk about.
There's so much we haven't discussed.
Less about me and more about how you
This,
fucking take
I think this is
what
like
I know.
a
Little intro,
special
yeah.
episode because we went over our time
Yeah.
and stuff. But hey, whatever. For all y'all out there listening, this is un regalito para ustedes. We give y'all that the extraness. Hope y'all enjoyed. We want to thank y'all for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Please share with your friends. We love your support and especially your comentarios, especially if you drop them on our Instagram at MicroOnda Podcast, or if you like us on Facebook at MicroOnda. Also, look us up on the iTunes app, right, at MicroOndas.
MicroOnda's podcast.
MicroOndas Podcast. And we'll share the show with all your friends.
Subscribe, hit
drop a
like.
comment on us. We will give you a shout out on our future shows as well. This episode was recorded, mixed by M.A. the Engineer. Show was sponsored by the Green Room Smoke Shop, #1 place in DC for pipes, bongs, papers, vapes, incense, grinders, anything that you might need to help you spark one up. We got special bongs here for y'all too and stuff, you know what I'm saying? The website is coming soon. We're having a little technical difficulty there, but check out for that. The website is
TheMicroOndaShow.com.
MicroOndaShow.com. Yo, fellas, y'all ready to tune it out? Yo, we out. Peace. Yo, gracias, Cristopolis, and we're about to listen to...
Yeah, so I think y'all gonna listen to Freedom, which was 2016 finalist in the John Lennon Songwriting Competition.
Freedom. Check it out. MicroOnda Podcast. We out. Peace.
Peace.
Let's go. Keep your back straight, keep a smile on your face. Tone Jones on the hook. Tone Jones on the track. Free at last, I done beat my anxiety. Let's talk about it. Use these verses as my diary. I'm feeling good. Catholic genius that's inside of me. I really could lie to you, but I can't lie to me. Impossible. Honestly, I'm too logical. I'm possibly way too hood, but I'm methodical. I think right. Catch me hanging in France. Not the best that I navigate my circumstance. Give me one chance every day. I would advance. Not an opportunist, but I like the romance. A better life on my own. Too I stand. I'll plan what I need to expand. I'm 100 grand every time the kid land. I'm an optimist. I understand finance and the numbers talk. When they write, they just dance. Economists hustling words. Freelance. Yeah. Keep your back straight. Keep a smile on your face. There's a million people right now who would love to be in your place. Let's go. Self-made, self-taught, shell-shot. Self-produced, see that video, self-shot. Self-reliant, self-respect, that self-talk. Like a self-check, making sure I still got what it takes. Let's take this to the top, cause I'm feeling good. I don't want it to stop, and it never will, as long as my lyrics stay hot. Got me confident, but that shit ain't a problem. Second wind, man, I came from the bottom, but no back just up. My whole format is modern, got no space for that. I'm too busy with product, perspective, think big, crave knowledge. College boy, I paid for with my dollars. Working hard, job, work ethic is solid. Now I get paid. More money, more problems, more shows, more stock. Globetrotter. Yeah. So I'm gonna take this breakdown right here to share with y'all a story I came across with the title, What are the odds of you actually existing? And when all the circumstances unique to our existence is calculated, the number's so large that you're quite literally one in a million, 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 million. Your life is literally a miracle. Think about that. Take 'em home, Tone. Yeah. Straight got me feeling good.